Hi, welcome to the podcast Growing Older with Gusto. I'm Gail Zergerman, your host. This is a podcast that focuses on people growing older in a positive and productive way. And today we have as a guest Jackie Lapin from Los Angeles, who is called the Historic Traveler Chief at the Historic Traveler, a media outlet and membership community for people who love history, traveling resources, and stunning photo galleries, which set aside curated recommendations for historical novels, biographies, films, and all that illuminates some of history's most trendy stories. Jackie is coming to us with her gusto-infused growing old with gusto philosophy. She was a photojournalist who focused her storytelling style to historic travel after serving as one of the nation's first female sports writers. And she's been the author of 4 books and has pioneered multiple communication industries. So she has so much talent. So let's get started. Welcome to the show.
I'm delighted to be here, Gail. Thank you for inviting me. I think this is a cool show.
Thank you so much. You're so accomplished that I don't know where to begin, to be honest with you. But you took your background as a sports writer and author of several books to reinvent yourself. What kind of a sports writer were you, out of curiosity?
So at the age of 11, I decided I was going to be a sports writer. There were no women sports writers at that point. But I married my 2 favorite things, the Los Angeles Dodgers and writing, and said, this is what I'm going to do. So I studied the Los Angeles Times every day. And at the age of 20, I was at the Associated Press. 21, I was at the Detroit Free Press and on the front pages of the Los Angeles Times. 22, I was co-hosting Dodger Dugout, and I was at the Washington Post and made national television. And from there, I went on to have one of the 2 largest sports special events and cable TV PR agencies in America. And you would know my client list. It was a world-class client list. And then I went from there to writing 2 books in personal growth. I was called to write those books, something inside of me and encouraged me to do them. One that ended up being the best spiritual book of the year at the International New Age Trade Show. That was called Practical Conscious Creation, Daily Techniques to Manage Your Desires and to manifest desires. And the first one was called The Art of Conscious Creation, How You Can Transform the World. So they're all about practical conscious creation. And so those books, when I completed doing them, and of course I promoted them myself to a lot of shows that, were at that time new, which was internet radio, in addition to broadcast radio. And then I thought to myself, well, I really want to serve the people that are making the world a better place. So I transitioned the agency to serve that community, and it became Conscious Media Relations. And ever since then, that's been 16, 17 years ago, we do podcast radio tours for authors, leaders, and experts, where we introduce them to 9,000 podcasts and radio shows with a minimum guarantee of 30 interviews.
So now I know who to call me when I had my book. Okay.
Come talk to me. And we specialize in personal growth, spirituality, health and wellness, women's empowerment, life improvement, basically. And especially, people of a certain age. So I've been doing that all these years. And, I hit 70. And I thought to myself, now, keep in mind, all that time, I've been traveling all over the world when I could escape and photographing beautiful places, because I love photography is my sense of art. And I love history and historic travel. So I got to my 70s and I thought to myself, okay, there's less years ahead than there were behind. So now you need to focus on doing the things you really want to do. So I jettisoned some things out of my life, and I took a trip to Europe and hit all of the list cities that I'd always wanted to see, 9 weeks of travel, and came home inspired. And I said, okay, I have to share this with the world. And so that's when I started building and creating the Historic Traveler and bringing it all together in one place.
That's great. That's a great story. So tell our listeners a little bit about the Historic Traveler.
So it's a online destination for people who love travel, history, and historic novels. And I tie it all together because every post, and we have 3 articles a week and an 80-page magazine. Every one of those gives you a perspective on a particular location, a little bit about its history, and then what to see from a historical standpoint when you get there. Now, the photos then illustrate that, but I also give you the books to read to make you feel as if you lived it. And that
It's
includes,
so key that you're sort of differentiating yourself and have differentiated yourself from like a photos or some kind of other travel book, which is wonderful. Okay.
and
So
travel websites, because it's the books that make this such a complete package. And it's historic novels, mysteries, history books, real history, and biographies. We're going to give you everything that makes you really understand what it is that you're seeing about this place. And then you have the choice of whether you want to read deeper. And beyond that, we created a database of the world's leading, historic novels, 8,000 historic novels by country, state, or city. So you get to read before you go, or if you're just, you're not out and about, you just want to kind of have some armchair traveling, some time travel in your mind, then you can go to the directory and gather that, our directory of historic novels. But that's just one of the many things we have over there. So besides the articles and the magazine, which the first half of the magazine is destinations and the second half is media, where we even have Q&As on each of those. One is a history expert, and then the second half of it is a one of the best selling historic novelists in the world. We just had Tony Riches, who's a specialist in Elizabethan and Tudor books that are like everywhere. And we've got other great people that I lined up at the Historic Novel Society of America recently. So you got the magazine, you've got the historic novel directory. We've got a directory of historic TV dramas and where you can see them online, streaming, broadcast. Then we have a directory of films, the top 200 films that are historically oriented of the last, century. Then we have a directory of historic hotels worldwide, a directory of historic museums, which is being built right now. We also have a travel concierge that doesn't charge you anything to travel to when they book you. And so that's one of the great features we have. We have a community, a book club, a meeting once a month where you come and you meet other people who love this kind of travel and in history and books. And, all kinds of other resources that we've just added my 100 top historic books. So if you want to peruse them, and we're about to launch in September, the 50 top historic novels currently, what's selling and what's new in the marketplace. And then if you sign up for our membership, which by the way is free, completely free, you've got access to all of that. Oh yeah, and a directory of insight guides, which are the best guides for people who love history. We have 200 of those on the. So you get book reviews, you get all kinds of other resources, and our newsletter comes out twice a month. And in that's where you're going to get more reviews. You're going to get news about what's going on in the world of history. We'll tell you about posts you might have missed. We'll tell you when the new magazine is out. All kinds of really cool stuff there. You can just sign up for the newsletter if you want, but I encourage you to sign up for the membership because you get more. You'll be on our list to know what else we're bringing to the table. And then you'll get to come to the community meetings and hang out with the people who love this and take advantage of the travel concierge. So it's just a really cool package. If you love history, travel, or history, we're home.
very unusual. So what you mentioned you've been to many destinations, like 500 destinations. Which are some of your favorites?
Well, my first is always Bruges. Bruges, Belgium is this mini Amsterdam with canals and swans in the canals and the big tall Dutch buildings with the winches on the top. I love Bruges. But some of my others, I adore Prague. I mean, it's just so
It's very magical.
And then Dubrovnik is another fabulous city. It's where they filmed a lot of Game of Thrones. You're just walking literally back into history in the old town there. There's a bunch of wonderful small towns that I love. Smaller. Lucerne is a great city with they have this covered bridges over the Royce River with this big round tower in the middle of the bridge. It's an iconic photo all over Europe. And I got to stay in a historic hotel, but I literally looked out the window and there it was. And then also, and of course, from Prague, I love the astronomical clock. And that was also just walking distance from where I was staying. Then on top of that, you're looking at, I love Verona. Verona is a fabulous historic city. And it's got 3 layers in it. It's got, the Roman era and the medieval and, the Renaissance. So what's really cool is if I stayed in a hotel, which was actually 2 original palazzos, 13th century palazzos. The area in between them was a courtyard that had been turned into the hotel lobby. You went up 1 level into the breakfast area, and they had a window in the floor, and you could look down into a Roman home.
Wow.
Um,
Wow,
yeah,
that is amazing. That is
yeah.
amazing. Wow.
And so, and I have one article, for example, in the magazine on the first issue about the 4 Roman arenas that are you can still see a performance in. One of them's in Verona. It's well put together, still arena. Another one is Arles, France. And so, that's really kind of fun. So, there's always amazing places that just, Albion,
Like
France is one avenue.
right, it's like you've discovered a lot of untouched gems too that most people don't know about or actually experience, which is wonderful.
Yeah,
Super.
absolutely. And I'm going to keep giving you I'm going to keep giving you individual little gems every, as 3 times a week, because
Well,
I mean,
now
I've been to 500 different locations.
so you mentioned you have this blog, which kind of is pairing your destinations with your favorite authors. Which are some of your favorite, maybe 1 or 2 could you tell us your favorite authors that you like?
Well, I've always been a lover of James Michener and Irving Stone and Leon Uris, and Gore Vidal, the great classics. But there's a lot of people that are really very good today. Fiona Davis, Kate Quinn, both of which I met at the Historic Novel Society. There's a series that I adore that's called The Chronicles of St. Mary's by a gal named Jodi Taylor. And get them on Audible because they're just hysterically funny, about a group of historians in England that actually go time travel, and always something messes up.
I'll have to tell
Um,
my husband loves them. I can't, I don't do Audible, but I'll tell him about it, and he loves history, so that would be great. And what kinds of images, you said you love photography, and what's your favorite type of images to take when you're traveling?
so obviously there's a structure. And usually, I mean, I love taking scenic kinds of things too, but if I'm doing historic stuff, I'm going to take a structure, but I'm not just going to stop there. I'm going to take the window with the flowers in it. I'm going to take the steeple or the tower. I'm going to take the nuance in the doorknob or door knocker. I'm
Mhm.
going to find the elements of that building that really are very interesting and that teach you about something about that place. Also, the same goes on the inside. I'm going to be looking at things that basically inform you about what life was like. But I love the little nuances in anything. A little kitten sitting in a corner, but that also tells you about the kind of place it is.
That's a great idea. I think that's wonderful. I love to travel. My husband and I have done a lot of traveling, and he likes photography also. So it's interesting to see what other people take photos of and what's important to them. I think you've got something really unique, and that's great.
Well,
So,
we didn't talk about the photo gallery, Gail. That's the one thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about all the resources. So you can actually go to the photo gallery, and there are over 60 individual collections. So you could
wow,
decide you want to look at a collection for a particular place, or my roses, or my hot air balloons, or landscapes all across New Zealand or Africa. My animals, you can see the animals that I've taken in various different places. So the photos really give you a wider breadth of the images that are available, and go and have a look and just enjoy them. And if you really love them, you can download for wall art and your phones and all that other kinds of stuff.
well, that's wonderful. I'm always looking for that. That's so. you began your Historical Traveler International with its membership offering. I'm just wondering, like, what inspired you to take this? It seems like quite a large undertaking. What inspired you?
So I think, well, first of all, I've never been able to really share the photographs that I pulled together all these years. And so having that in its sense gave me the impetus. But I love to share what I learn. And I know that I'm not the only person that really loves delving into history and experiencing it from a first person standpoint. But having read about things in advance, it gave me a perspective that when I walked in there, I knew what I was looking at. I knew what created this. I knew who the people were. I mean, there's nothing more exciting than I went to the Chateau de Chenonceau in France this year. And of course, I have not only read, but I've seen, there was a Stars show called The Serpent Queen about Catherine de' Medici. And she's a fascinating character in history. One of the things she did was her husband, Henry II, had given his mistress this beautiful chateau over the water with these arches on it. Just stunning. And the minute that her husband died, Catherine threw Diane out of the chateau and took it over herself. And there I was standing in Catherine de' Medici's bedroom.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, right there, seeing what she saw every day. I remember going to Holyrood Castle in Scotland and standing in the room where Mary, Queen of Scots' secretary was murdered. I mean, you read about it, you see it on television and in the movies, and here you're standing in that place. But reading about it just gives it so much more reality for you. And
And
so
a lot
I
of
just was so excited to bring that together.
a lot
Sorry.
of context, right, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just
Uh,
love bringing it all together.
that's cool, it really is. So tell us more about there's a book swap and a book club? Tell us more about that.
So the book club, will start up again in the fall, where we're going to bring people together to talk about particular books or authors, and occasionally you might even have an author there for one of the Q&As. And the book swap is just allowing you to really swap your books. We have a community where you can go in there and you can say, "Hey, I've got 3 books on this. I'm looking for this kind of book. Anybody want to switch off?" And that way, very cool way to get new books. One of the
Great
things
way.
I love to do is also haunt used bookstores. That's another great way. I mean, for example, library bookstores are the cheapest way to buy a used book. And I go to a lot of them. And you can generally buy a book for $1 or $2. And we're talking big hardbacks.
Wow, interesting. Take note, listeners. That's wonderful. So, okay, so I hear your all your passions, travel and history and reading. What other passions do you have? Do you have free time at all? Anything else you wanna share with us?
Well, truth be told, if I have free time most of the time, I'm going to be sitting in my backyard listening to the waterfalls in my backyard with a historic novel. That's really my happy place. And, obviously I love to even if it's not on a big excursion, I love to kind of explore. Even when I'm walking in my neighborhood, I'm with my camera. Thank God for the cell phones. I mean, I always carrying a backpack full of cameras when I'm on the road, but the cell phone is just the quality is so good these days
Isn't
that
it
I'll
amazing?
flowers and come home with a gazillion shots.
Yeah, I love flowers too. So, what travel adventures next in store for you?
Egypt, definitely. That's one of the big places that I've missed. Turkey is after that. My only disappointment is that they just put the Hagia Sophia Mosque under scaffolding to do repair work. And so I'm not going until that gets done because, I'm a photographer. I need the scene.
Right, right.
But Egypt, definitely. But there are a lot of other places. I want to go to Malta. I can give you a laundry list.
Are you planning on going to Bhutan?
It would be further down on my list. I've done. If I were to go to Asia, I want to see Thailand and Bali first, and then beyond that, I might expand. But I don't resonate as much with Asia. I've been to China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Macau, and Tokyo, all of the
Mhm.
above. But I tend to resonate better with European. Another place I want to go is Morocco. anything around the Caribbean. And I want to spend more time in Greece. I've not spent as much time in Greece as I'd like.
Interesting. Have you been to South Africa?
I have.
Did you like it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Cape
Yeah.
Town is beautiful and it's lovely. Yeah.
Did you
And the,
did
go ahead.
you when you're talking about experiencing something in history, I remember standing in Nelson Mandela's cell on Robben's Island. So that's
Yes.
another one
Yep.
that gives
That,
one pause.
yes, absolutely. An incredible man. And
Yeah,
history is about the people who make it. That's part of what's exciting about it. But
I
yeah.
enjoyed the world. So you mentioned you have a gift or something for people who join your community. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, actually, it's available to anybody.
Or
So all
something
you,
like that?
so all you need to do, it's an e-guide to 20 international cities where you can immerse yourself in history and the books that'll make you feel as if you lived it. So you can get that e-guide. Actually, I'm going to give you one for the US too. This is an international one. Go
Okay.
to The Historic Traveler, and it's THE, thehistorictraveler.com/guide to get the
Okay.
international guide. Now, if you want one that's 18 North American cities, then you go to thehistorictraveler.com guide NA, as in North America. So grab either one of those.
And Jackie, what's the best way for somebody to reach out to you if they just want to talk to you personally or get in touch with your community?
You can always get to me through the website, but you can also reach out to Jackie at thehistorictraveler.com.
Very good. Well, I'm out of questions today, but this has been a really illuminating conversation. Is there anything else you might want to add? You're so excited and this is really wonderful. It's really wonderful to talk with you. You've got a great thing going.
Thank you. Well, in the future, I'm actually going to lead trips to some places. So, if you're interested in joining us for some of those, then make sure that you're signed on as a member and take advantage of everything else in the meantime. But I'll let you know when I'm ready to get traveling again and take you with me.
Oh, thank you. That was great. And I think the listeners will also reach out to you. I think this is really exciting. So thanks, Jackie, for your time and everybody stay curious and stay connected.
Thank you, Gail.
Thanks.